Hello, and welcome to Thingness.
This podcast is one part of our domestic microgallery. In each of these episodes, we sit down with our current exhibitor and talk about objects, things, and collecting in relation to exhibiting outside of white cube norms. We are Hannah
And Martin, and today we are joined by our very first artist duo, Alessandro Polo and Jennifer Victoria Barberi. Would you like to tell us a little bit? Hello, yeah, welcome. Would you like to tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from, and a little bit about your practices?
Okay, so I am Alessandro Polo. I was born in Milano, in Italy, and studied art over there and then in Switzerland. And so I guess I've been doing very much sculptures and drawings, and I think it's very much related to experimenting a bit with materials and to relate somehow to some sort of scenario I kind of self-define, even if it's not like very specific. And yeah, this is it.
Nice. And Jennifer?
I am Jennifer. Hi again. And I studied art in Bergamo, and my department was the new medias department. I forgot to mention that I am from Italy too, so we're both from Italy, and not lucky enough to be born in a big city, but rather a small city whose name is Voghera. And my starting point was new media, so video and installation, but then I took a little detour from that and started a practice that I much more enjoy, that is a socially engaged practice, that it's and right now I have this reading group that is called Bok Bok, that Hannah knows.
That's fantastic.
And I'm happy with it, I think. So yes, this is it.
Nice, amazing. And how did the two of you meet?
Long story. We met through some mutual friends, I think, many times, but didn't really have that much engagement. And then, one night in this very popular bar in our city, Jenny was lost. She lost her friends. She didn't know where she was and how to go back home.
That's very classic of me.
And then I take her back home, and then we start.
I got rescued a bit like a dog. And we've been acquaintances for a few years, and then yes, that happened. It was a very unlucky event. Then we started dating and now this is our first collaboration, because we never I honestly never thought that our practices could collide eventually, but so it was a nice opportunity.
Yeah, we never really thought about that before.
About working together?
Yeah, we would just we were just so much into different things that we would help each other if some help was needed or some advice, but that was it.
Yeah, exactly. Also because I feel like I've been taking many steps back from material-based practices. And Ale is pretty much the opposite. Like, I think your practice is very rooted in tangible media, either is drawing or sculpture.
Yeah.
But somehow I think we both have a strong conceptual background. So, or like, we like to talk a lot in general, or like in our everyday life. So I think that was I think that was the most important base for developing this project. I think our daily conversations.
I think too. Yeah, I really started out with talking about things, and eventually we found like a shape and a direction just from what we, yeah, from like just like we'll say talking about life in general. So yeah, we didn't really start saying, I'd like to do something like this or that. It was really all the way the opposite.
Yeah, talking about our disappointments and frustration, but also
and desire. I remember talking
desire.
about desires. Yeah, we were on the tip of Nordness, you know, where there is the spark. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were having a walk and being a little bit fed up about being too much inside and getting some fresh air and
very fresh air.
yeah. And so we started to talk about it. I think that maybe we didn't really use the term desire in our previous conversations. I think maybe in our everyday talk we don't really use this term desire, but maybe we talk very much about what we would like to do if we were free enough to do that, this or that. And then when you proposed us this this exhibition opportunity, then we came up with more formed concept of the desire or longing for something.
Yeah. Maybe before we go, just like a bit more into the actual things that you've brought, and we can just take a little pause and come to one question that we like to ask everyone on our show, which is about describing your relationships to things, objects, and collecting. So how do each of you feel to one or all or two of those kind of phrases?
Mm-hmm. So I think it really changed for me during the years. I think around high school or the first years of university, when I was still at my parents', I used to accumulate a lot of whatever. Even, just shelves or things I would find on the street that to be thrown away, because I had this idea that, everything could have been purposeful at some point.
And like a hoarder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which, I still think, if I had more space, I would probably end up doing the same thing. Now, like last years, I've been more on the move, never been too much on the same place, and things have changed. So I learned to be a bit more selective. So now I'm not a minimalist, but I kind of, try to avoid, not to have too many things, because then it's painful when you need to move to get rid of everything. But yeah, I will say that I don't specifically like or have that much care. So I think I like to have objects around me, or just like parts of objects that I feel I could refurbish or use for something else.
So that they have a use.
Yeah.
It could be like practical or emotional. It doesn't have to be.
I have very few emotional objects, and it's really mostly like childhood things. Mm-hmm. So it's really just related about memory, and I think at some point, eventually would be maybe, I don't know, like some rocks I took from somewhere, but not that much anymore. And I don't think I have that many valuable things, besides, I don't know, maybe tools or my phone, but this is something everyone has. So I think for me it's really more like material rather than things that kind of light me up. Yeah.
And Jenny?
As I mentioned to you before, I'm not a huge collector, especially I think because during my childhood I had way too many toys, I think. So now I don't care. Like, I think I've been a little bit spoiled in that sense. So now I value more like in intangible things. So especially since I got my first smartphone, I think I started to collect there what I really thought it was valuable to me, which was like more pictures or songs. I remember when you still had to send songs through Bluetooth. And
yeah.
so I think that was my first, like the first things that I actually cared about, that I wanted to collect. So that's what I refer to when I say like intangible. And of course I don't collect songs anymore because everything has been kind of disrupted by platforms, but something that I am really proud of, that I told you before, is that I collect pictures and texts on Tumblr, and I haven't had the same account for like many years, but it's something that I started to do, I think, in 2016 or even earlier, I think. And maybe the first year of high school, so no, definitely earlier. So yeah, that's what I care.
And is
about
it
the
like a
most.
collection of like photographs or like things that other people have taken, or is it like does it also involve things that like you've taken?
It's a mix. I think that I have started with mood boards, or like the Pinterest we heart it kind of thing, and or something that I would find inspiring, or like the 14 years old version of me found inspiring. So it was very much gothic, grunge aesthetics picture, really ugly.
But how often do you like refer back to these images and collections? Like,
What do you mean?
I mean, like one of the biggest tells if you're like a hoarder or not is like you put things away that you intend to keep and use later, but you never actually get to use them. You just keep them, you know.
Yeah, they just live like rent free in my head, because I feel like if I try to picture them, they are so vivid in my head, but I think that I never went back to scrolling that part of the archive in years, but still they
Yeah, still there.
But it's the same. I think, like as you were saying, that you don't collect material things, but you collect these things on Tumblr, and I was kind of connecting to that because I have these like playlists that I collect songs of every month that I listen to, and I've been doing it since 2016.
Yeah, I remember.
And I also collect like saves on Instagram, you know. I have a folder that's called Masters Project, and it's just like hundreds of random things I like art-wise, but
Or like food, and then,
Yeah.
but we maybe make like 1 out of 20.
but I think a part of me feels okay for collecting those things. Like Ali, you were saying that you don't want to collect too many things because you have to move. And for me, like maybe for you as well, Jenny, it's like when you collect things digitally, it feels like then you could collect an infinite amount, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't take up space. But what's weird now is people starting to talk about how much like water AI is using, and the fact that it feels like these digital collections don't take up space, but actually they do. We just don't see where the space is. It's like
It's a server hole somewhere.
we've like
which is like heating up and
we're like putting over that worry of where the collection is, like onto like someone else in a way.
Yeah, I think maybe we should, not that we should really change our approach to it, but yeah, maybe being a little bit more aware of it, that there is actually a physical space for the internet, and it's not like, there is a cloud that is a very, very heavy cloud.
A very heavy cloud that I think like at least everyone using it feels like it really isn't. It feels like it's something that you really can't touch. Yeah. Which is, I
don't know. I lost my computer like twice. I mean, once it got stolen. The first time I just lost it, and it just gave me so much anxiety. Like how lost all the like those files, all those pictures are. Like they are lost in a way in which like you could never lose that much. Like a key. Yeah, a key is lost, but it's somewhere. That thing is just more gone in a way that I don't know. That's why I don't think I mean, I save everything, but still, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't feel I'm owning it. I don't know.
Should we move on to your wonderful exhibition then? So you've just, we just spent the last couple hours helping you, well, more like we were watching you.
Like walking behind?
Yes. Install your wonderful objects. Do you want to speak a little bit about what you've installed?
Yes. So it's like the spaces in the Thingness are 22. So we built 22 miniatures of doors. So I mean, there are actual kind of small doors, and
Doors and like partitioners, and like there's a little piece of
yeah,
a wall.
exactly, yeah, and like a small like fake rock walls. I mean, actually, it's a real rocks.
It's a real
but, yeah.
rock wall.
Yeah, just very small, and so on. So there is not really any particular, I would say, style. It was just like it was just fun, you know, to think of like doors and just to make them with some material we had home or we just found on purpose for that. So every door it's very different. We have some that maybe look a bit more like some middle age or some fantasy, while others are more like a copy of actual doors. For example, there is one which really resembles one of these anti-panic, is it called it like that? Door from the club. Those
Anti-panic?
I don't know.
I've not heard of it.
Oh, it's like an emergency exit door.
Yeah, emergency exit, exactly. Where you,
Anti-panic is better.
yeah, those ones
like
where
that
you,
in Italy.
That's
yeah,
great.
where
Oh,
you know
that's a
this
great
one where you have to
phrase.
push this
No
red bar.
panic door.
So I would say, yeah, it was a bit more. It was a bit like making small, tiny models of very different doors.
Yeah, you went very much for like looking at our shelf as being like a place for you to work with miniatures. Rather, so because everything here, apart from the rock, you've actually created for it to be this size. Like there's things that you found that you've put onto.
I
So,
think that even the rock, we
Yeah.
kind of to redimension it.
oh really?
I just slightly broke. Yeah, I
Ah,
mean,
okay.
it's still kind of meant to resemble a much bigger rock, but
So everything then though has been created for this structure in a way.
yeah. Everything was made on purpose for this. Like none of this was existing before, and
And how did you do it? Because I know that when we were speaking a bit about the process earlier, it sounded like you kind of each took a door each. So it was more like you were working alongside each other on this same.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we have this room with 2 tables.
Yeah.
Let's call it a studio.
Awesome. Yeah, with many. What's the name of the?
Speech marks?
Yeah, exactly. With many speech marks.
Oh, like studio. Yes. Okay.
And so, I mean, I think it's interesting for me the fact that we, before even starting, when we really were still in the process of like, okay, what should we do? And we were just, I think, speaking a lot about how, you know, you kind of, in your life, you know, you keep like, move forward, keep desiring things, you know, either it's like a long-term gratification or short-term, but it's just like a never ending of, kind of, you know, motivations that just drives you through on. And so, yeah, I guess like, for me was a bit the idea with doors, this idea that, you know, and especially with having, you know, such kind of characteristic and particular doors as such, this idea of, you know, like this longing for something that should be back of it, you know, sort of like
The surface like hints at what could be behind.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, in a way, you know, like, could it be like some sort of adventure or anything, you know, but this really, yeah.
Yeah, and also like since this since the whole is a open structure, we thought about like finding a device to close it, because I think that one of the feature of the desire is that it's always unreachable by definition. It's something that you long for but you never reach. So
Because what is desire when it's fulfilled? It disappears.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that the door or like a lid or something that closes would symbolize quite well this idea, and also I don't remember
Is
what
this,
I
is
wanted
this the
to
title
say.
of the show? Desire.
We don't really have a title.
Don't have to have a title.
Yeah, maybe The Doors.
The Doors.
No, but yeah.
I mean, I just finished a body of work that was made on almost like 30 book covers.
Ah.
Where I made like collages like onto the book covers, and I turned the book covers into like panels. But there's no actual book behind them. It's just the covers.
Okay.
So it's basically books without texts. It's like you have to there's only the cover to contemplate, and you look at the thing and you think, oh, this must be like a fantasy novel, or like this must be like a...
You really have to judge the book by the cover.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And this is...
In a way,
Quite
I guess
interesting.
it's the same, because you were saying when we were speaking before recording now, you were saying also with the Doors that there's also this feeling of like wondering what's behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you've covered these things up, and for all we know as viewers, maybe you have hidden things, other objects behind the door, but we don't know. I guess that goes a bit back to what's it, Schrodinger's cat.
Yep.
Like we're never going to know unless you open it. Maybe that's getting a bit too heavy going into what's it called again? Like
I saw so fun Schrodinger's cat meme just today. It was like the rest of the world is the same experiment, but for the cat, if you turn it inside out.
oh
So
Oh
maybe
my
all
God.
of us are both alive and dead at the same time.
oh. Okay, I have a question
Heavy.
though, because which was each of your favorite ones to make?
This is a good question.
Because I mean, we have favorites now, like just visually, you know. But
Okay.
But which was your favorite to make, and then maybe describe a little bit the materials that
Yeah.
are in it.
I think the one to make probably for me was the double-sided leaf door,
saloon style.
which is like a kind of like a very elvish style in a way, and it looks a bit like a butterfly, and it has two. How can you call
It's
that?
got two panels, so like
Two
they
panels.
open like they would open like outwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just very regular cardboard, which is covered with dried leaves. So that once the leaves is dried, you can glue them to the cardboard pretty easily, and they become a sort of like leather. And I guess I was kind of surprised how, I don't know, I think I was very much inspired, and when I did it, everything went easy with glue and anything. There was no mistake, no nothing. It was just I don't know, very...
I think what I like about it is if you look closer to it, like on the image, that because it looks like you just have these main yellow and kind of orange leaves, but you do also have these teeny tiny little red bits that, like, even within the door, you've managed to add detail through different leaves, which I think is a really nice detail. Jenny, what about you? Which was your favourite one to make? Or maybe which one are you most satisfied with? It could also be.
I don't know really, because I enjoyed basically all of them, but like maybe the last one that we did like very last minute this morning is one of my favorite one, because I think it's the only one that we really like, in which we sat down and did together, like with a piece you and a piece me.
Do you want to describe what it looks like?
It's the one on the top on the right, and that has like some braids, where the ropes are braided, and I don't know, I think that this one is the only one that we made really together. And
it's not properly a door, it's more like a curtain made of a heavy orange ropes.
It's like a 60s door.
Yeah.
60s.
and I remember that, like I said, that it was like braiding Obelix hair, Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah.
So, and that he has two red braids, so that was fun. But the one maybe that I like the most visually speaking is the one made with tiny bits of painted wood.
So it's little bit stripes of pink and blue and yellow, and you've got a bead.
pattern there.
Yeah.
a little G bead for the as a door handle.
Yeah, exactly. I think this one is the one that I like best, maybe among the ones that I did. But
I think what we really loved and appreciate also at this dark time of year was how colourful the whole thing was. That it's going to be very nice to live with each day with this. It's so grey outside right now, and to have.
And I'm also thankful as the documentation person that all of these doors, they're kind of like flush surface-wise to the front of the shelf. So it'll be quite easy to light.
Yeah.
There'll be no pockets of shadow, you know.
So from now on,
Now from
for
now
the next
on,
one,
only flash ones.
Only flash ones. Well, let's go to our last question then. So we have a bibliography for Thingness, and we were wondering if the two of you had any references, any inspiration that you'd like to add.
you want to? I will say it first. Okay. The book that I wanted to suggest is a book that I read for my thesis, and it relates to the online archiving, and it's named "Everything I Need I Get From You: How Fungers Created the Internet as We Know It" by Caitlin Tiffany.
okay. So I don't think it's like that expressively related with the Doors and Thingness project, but one book I recently read that I really liked was The Planet of Exile, Exile Planet from Ursula Le Guin. So it's plain fantasy or science fiction, and it's just really human colony on another planet with like similar but different rules. And I think I really enjoy how how expressively and how real were like some description of like architecture or some situations. And I think I really like when there is this amount of like thinking of any kind of scenario, almost like in a sculptural way. And this is it.
Nice, thank you.
I was thinking of something. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just this like this door thing and this expecting things to be behind the doors. I just finished watching this science fiction thriller series called Dark Matter.
Dark Matter, okay.
Yeah, with Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Connelly.
Okay.
Came out just like I think this summer. And they go into this super juxtaposition cube space. And it just expands, and they find themselves in this endless hallway filled with doors, and all the doors look the same. But depending on what you think about or like your emotional state when you open the door, that's the kind of world that you will end up in.
Oof.
And it's very nice. Yeah, it's kind of fun to think about this, because now you've made a door that looks like something. So when you open the door, you will end up in that space. Yeah,
like the door with orange peel. Are you going to open it and behind it there's like a ton of dried oranges? Or like the saloon leaf door, like if you open that, will you be in like
Lothlorien?
What's that?
The Elven Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they suggest already what you could find behind them. It's true. Yeah.
But it can be also a bit misleading sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah. But it's good to keep
There's an apple orchard behind the orange door.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was Thingness.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.